Hey, my name is Chad. On this channel we like to make stuff, and today we are doing the floor joists on the central structure of our timber frame building. Alright, so we've already got all our floor joists milled to rough dimensions, and it only takes a few more steps to get one of these timbers milled out to be a finished floor joist that's ready to be hung. And we've got 7 more floor joists to do on this section, but I'm only going to show you that process one time. I encourage you to stick it through to the end of the video to see all 8 floor joists in place. Even though this is going to be a quick video for you, for me, well, it's going to take me several days. In fact, it is only 6:30 right now and we are pushing 80 and it is so humid. The forecast projects us to be about 100 degrees by 10 a.m. so I'm only going to get about 4 hours today, and the rest of the week is shaping up to look the same. Well, that wasn't the plan, but it's working for the moment. So we are at 7.5 inches tall, exactly, and we just need to work on our width now because we need to be at 5.5 inches. We got to lose about 3/16 of an inch, and that's going to come off of this side. Now we got our 5.5 inches here, as you can see. Whew. Guys, it's like 8:30 and my shirt is drenched. My camera is overheating. Got this little fan here, battery powered. So that's a relief. But yeah, I got like an hour and a half left in me out here. So we got our floor joist down to the dimension that we needed, 5.5 by 7.5 wide and tall. Next thing we're going to do is get a measurement from the mortise of each side across the way to get our exact length, and we're going to cut it to length. All right, so now that we got our dimension set, we need to get that third dimension, which is overall length, which is going to go from the inside of this mortise to the inside of that mortise. So we should be measuring for each specific joist, just because there may be a bit of a warp in either or both of these boards, so that's going to maybe throw off the overall length by maybe up to 1/4 inch. So we want to get these exact. All right, so we're going to be measuring from the back side of the opposite mortise, getting our length and subtracting that width between the two mortises there. And in case you're wondering what that plastic is for, it's to protect the beam from that chain as I was hoisting the previous joist up. All right, so if I look over here, I have 155 and 1/4 inches. I want to pull this as tight as I can because any sag is going to add length to my piece. So pull it tight. I'm looking at 155 and 1/4 inches. Yep, so we're doing 155 and 1/4 minus 3 3/4. We'll go 13/16, minus 3 and 13/16. So 155 and 1/4 minus 3 and 13/16. So we'll call this. Shit, no, I have to add 16 to 4. That's 20/16. 20/16 minus, so that's 7/16. 151 and 7/16 is our total length. But before we get a measurement, we have to get one end squared first. But even before we do that, we need to see how much wood we have that we're working with. So we're going to get a rough measurement to see how much we've got to play with. Okay, so looks like at most we are at 152 and 3/8, so we don't have a whole lot of wood that we can cut off from both sides. So remember, our measurement is 151 and 7/16, which is right there. So we can only take off a little bit from this side to square it up, and then we'll cut it off square on that end. All right, that looks like our shallowest side. So we do need to leave a little bit of meat, so to speak, so the saw blade can stabilize itself. Otherwise, if we tried to put the saw blade right here, it would want to push itself to its easiest path of least resistance. So we'll set it right there. Now that I got my other end established, I can go ahead and pull my measurement of 151 and 7/16. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7/16 is just short of a 1/2 inch. All right, folks, we're back here once again, 6:30 in the morning. It's already muggy as heck out. We are uncharacteristically hot for the state of Virginia right now. Virginia does get hot and muggy, but you know, this is one of those times when the news has it says stay in the house, don't walk your pets outside, etc. And yeah, so we're just going to get through it. We're going to get a couple hours in here. We're going to get this finished up today. We may even get it hung. In the next step, we're going to go ahead and put the tenon on the end of the joist that nestles inside each of these mortises. That tenon looks like this. This is the end of the board. And you know, that's going to be a real quick process because we're using a template, which is right here. This is a pretty handy little tool that we made to give us that shape, and I'll tell you, it goes on just like this, right on the end of your board, of your joist, that is. Gonna get some screws, screw it down into place so it doesn't move at all. We're gonna be using the router. This is the bit that we're gonna be using, and this is the bearing that's going to track right along each of these surfaces, this pattern here, and it's going to be carving out exactly what we see here. Notice it has that little wedge there. This is called the dovetail. And then we've tapered it so it nestles down into, well, here's the model here. Nestles right down into that mortise, and it locks it in place, and it doesn't go anywhere. And it's also housed within the beam, so it's going to be supported on the sides, and if this was bigger, it would have a bottom there that would be supported on the bottom. So that's going to happen on both ends. That only took me a few minutes. And that's the result. Got a little tear out here, but that's not going to hurt anything. Got a little bit of cleanup to do. There. It's ready to go. And we'll do just a little test. And that's the result. Nice and flush on top. Ready to go for sure. All right, looking good there. Ready for the test fit. Oh yeah, it's good. Well, for all intents and purposes, this joist is complete, but we've got a couple stylistic details to do before we can put oil on it and get it hung. So first thing we want to do is put that 45-degree chamfer on the exposed edges, which are, in this case, it's just going to be the downward facing edges. So this one here and this one, we're going to put that 45-degree chamfer on it, just like over here. And by now you're probably familiar with the 45-degree chamfer bit with the template bearing that we're going to be using. This is going to ride right along the outside of this joist, and we're just going to run it down the edge. So you're probably wondering about this little imperfection here. This is called wane, and that's basically where you couldn't get the full dimension out of your timber. And this is basically where the bark was exposed, just because maybe the tree was bent funny or just got skinnier there. But I came to a decision point as I was cutting these trees for this building that I could either find the perfect tree to get the perfect beams out of, or I could, you know, basically feature this as character in the building. So what I'm going to do is clean this up, and we're going to have something that looks kind of like this here. If you look at this post, now if you look at this post here, you see where we have a lot of that wane featured. I think it looks really cool, and it's actually a feature and not a bug. So we're sticking with that as part of the building's design motif, I guess. Here's another one where I couldn't get the full dimension, but I think that looks pretty cool, and we're going to have some of that featured throughout the building. So we're going to go ahead and clean this up with a super sander and some 60 grit sandpaper. That way we're just going to keep some of that nature on display. And finally, the last step we take before we hang this thing is to get it oiled. You don't need to watch me do that, do you? All right, guys, we are fully oiled. It is complete, ready to go. I'm just going to let it set up for a little while, probably 30 minutes or so, before I put it in straps and hoist it up. Well, while I wait for that oil to set up, I'm going to sit here in the shade because the sun is truly up and it is wearing me out already. It's only about 20 after 8 in the morning. So as soon as I get that thing hung up, I'm going to head home. In the meantime, I'm going to sit here with this cool fan that the folks from Conbola sent me. It's battery powered, and by the way, this is my first sponsor, so just in time for the summer, they sent me a pair of fans. So I've got the one that I'm going to keep, and I think I'll set the other one up as a giveaway, and I'll give you some details about that. But this is pretty cool. So it's, as I said, it's battery powered. It's got 4 different settings for speed. And it's also got an LED light, and that's got different levels of brightness as well. So that's pretty cool. Kind of lights up behind the fan, and you've got a pretty cool tool for going camping, I think. So I'm just going to sit here with my fan in the shade and wait. So if you want one of these lightweight but rugged fans, check out my link in the description, and it helps support the channel. It also comes in a variety of different colors too. This is the army green color, which I chose obviously because I'm a veteran. And if you want to win a fan like this of your own, then stay tuned towards the end of the video. At some point, I'm going to give you the details. So right now I need to put this chain over the top of the tie beam, and in order to protect the beam from getting scarred up by the chain, because this gantry does not lean over like the other one with the gantry crane extension. I got half of this pipe that used to be the toilet pipe that was standing up too tall. I cut that off, but I cut this down the middle. So this is going to go right over the top of the beam to protect it from the chain sliding by. All right. Doesn't get any more exact than that. Awesome. Sweet. And there you have it, guys. That's 2 complete. I got 6 more to go. And look here, as you're walking through the front door, you look up and there's that live edge on display. Pretty cool, right? So we're gonna knock out these other 6. I'm gonna do that sort of in a montage. Right, so we just got the last floor joist in place with Bennett's help. Bennett up there. All 8 beams. We had to cut the last 2, number 7 and 8, 3 times because they were each like off. Well, one was off like a whole inch. So, and we cut it and it was still off like a 1/4 inch and an 1/8 inch respectively. So, little setback, but we have somewhat of a roof overhead. And that was really easy. Well, truth is that took about 5 days of coming out here every day at 5:30 in the morning until about 10 in the morning, because it was uncharacteristically hot, like I said earlier, for the summer months. It's always hot in the summer months, but they had, you know, summer heat warnings advising us to stay indoors. But got it done and looks really good. Just got one more thing to do and we'll probably take care of that in the morning. And we are back this morning. It is time to put a pin in this project, literally. So we're going to be driving 8 of these 10-inch lag screws into the ends of these floor joists. 8 on each side, so 16 total, and Bennett's helping us with that. Hey, thank you so much for sticking it through to the end of the video, and thank you especially to Conbola for being the sponsor for today's video, and thanks for being my first sponsor ever. And if you want to get your hands on one of these fans, make sure you go to the link in my description and you know, make me look good and get yourself a really good fan. And if you want a chance at winning this extra fan that they sent me, then 1, make sure you're subscribed, and 2, put in the comments below, I'm a fan, and then I will have a little drawing, and hopefully I will be in touch to let you know that you have won. So, thank you for watching again, and see you on the next video. Hey, thanks for watching, and if you are new to the channel and you want to get caught up to everything that's been going on out here at Shady Acres in just one video, then I suggest you start right here. And if you want to dive in from the beginning and see everything that we've ever done out here, then start right here, click it, and just let it play.